good of you to come so quickly, Mrs. Price.
Oh, not at all.
I'd obviously hesitate to call the police in the circumstances. It would have been the most Christian of things to do.
Oh, yes, quite.
And he does say he knows you.
We've corresponded.
Ah, that would be it then. Right, shall we go in?
After you.
Just wait for the lad.
Come on, Mark.
Coming.
Who discovered him, Father?
The cleaners, Mrs. Price, first thing. He must have come in last night before we locked up and hidden away. He's just over there. Mr. Ching! Mr. Ching! Mrs. Price is here to see you. I'm sorry.
Mr. Cheng, it's Mrs. Price.
And Mark, her secretary.
We are not Batman and Robin.
He might think I was the police.
Mr. Cheng?
Ah, Mrs. Price. Please, come in.
I think in view of your somewhat cramped accommodation, Mr. Cheng, it might be better if you joined us.
Ah, of course. One moment.
I do actually have a funeral this morning, Mrs. Price.
Yes, I'm due at the Commons myself in an hour.
I have a dental appointment at 11.
Please, shall we make ourselves at home?
You see, the idea of claiming sanctuary is a somewhat historical concept.
But that is not to say you don't have a degree of protection by being here.
The protection afforded you, Mr. Cheng, is the reluctance of the authorities to be seen entering a church and dragging you out of it. It sounds too much like some left-wing, right-wing regime.
Especially if you've had permission to stay. Has he, Father?
Well, it's a matter for the bishop. He can stay for now, but it's extremely inconvenient having someone living in your confessional.
Yes, bit of a penance, really.
The point is, Mr. Cheng, that if the authorities wish to remove you, they are within their rights. I mean, all that remaining here does is cause an embarrassment to them and buy you some time.
And time, Mrs. Price, is of the essence. For procrastination is a thief of time.
Yes, quite.
So what's going to happen, Mrs. Price? Would someone just put my mind to rest on that? I've a business to run here.
My personal feeling, Father, is that Mr. Cheng may have somewhat overreacted. Look, I know the visa extension has been refused, but you are entitled to appeal, and you should be able to remain at liberty until it's decided.
So there you are, Mr. Cheng. It's not the end of the road.
We'll get an appeal underway, and then we'll get straight back to you, all right?
Thank you, Mrs. Price.
You've got the relevant details, Mark.
The facts, ma'am, just the facts.
All right. And whatever you do, Mr. Cheng, try not to worry. Nothing's final yet until it's settled.
Hope springs eternal.
Yes. Okay, Mark? We'll get back to you, Father.
Right. Thanks for coming over.
It was the least I could do.
Bye. Oh, but Mrs. Price, you're not leaving him here.
It's like the same old story to me, Jean. I hear them knocking, but they can't come in.
You suggest I sing him a chorus of that, then, do you?
Go on, then. What's the yarn?
Well, he arrived 4 years ago on a student visa to study agricultural science.
Oh, sounds like he may be meant to go back then. You can't grow much rice in a window box in NW1.
No. 14 months ago, there was a coup. His brother back home was imprisoned without trial for his political views.
Which, of course, Cheng shares.
Oh, yes.
Yes, she said.
Yes. Well, he seems to be telling the truth.
Oh, he seems to be telling the truth here. There's a clever trick. So now he's afraid to go back in case the same happens to him.
Yes. He graduated shortly after the coup and obviously didn't want to return, so he stayed here.
Since when he's been working illegally?
I presume so, yes.
Well, how else would he support himself?
Well, he must have been then, yes. But he's been sending most of the money back home.
Well, as far as the law's concerned, Jean, it wouldn't matter if he was buying a sunshine coach for the variety club.
Whose side are you on?
Oh, you think I'm difficult? Wait till you meet the men from the immigration department. They got gold medals in it. I only got a bronze.
You deserve better.
They'd deport their own mothers if they caught her with a suntan. Anyway, so they finally catch up with him, do they?
No, he got worried about his illegal status, so he applied for a visa renewal himself.
What? He turned himself in? Oh, dear, oh, dear. Some people ask for it, don't they?
So what do you think?
Well, you could whack in an appeal, Jean. Wouldn't do any harm.
And when would he know?
Oh, there's about 18,000 applicants on the waiting list with an average waiting time of 27 months. But, of course, if you've got an MP on the case...
Yes.
Probably take even longer. So, where's this bloke now, then?
Oh, I left him there. Still, he can't come to any harm in a church, can he?
Ask Thomas à Becket. Oh, it's John. I gotta have a word. We can't have black MPs calling honourable members Babylon honkies, can we? Not on our side, anyway.
She's not usually late, William.
Warren.
Oh, aye, Warren. Something urgent's probably come up.
That's okay, Mr. Miller.
Whatever's detained her, I'm sure she won't be too long.
It's no problem, sir. I'm happy to wait.
Why don't you sit down, anyway?
No, thank you, sir. I prefer to stand.
Can I get you a coffee, Warren?
Not for me, thank you. I don't partake of caffeine-based stimulants.
Oh, I see. Tell me, Warren, how do you feel about sedatives?
Not for me, sir, but you go right ahead.
Don't you worry, Warren, I will. There we are, a sedative plus a stimulant. Do you know what I call that, Warren?
Sir?
A balanced diet.
I wonder if I may trouble you for a glass of water, Mr. Miller.
No. Do you partake of carbonated?
Is that low sodium?
It is actually, yeah.
That'll be fine.
Oh, good. It's only 10p a glass, Warren.
Well, we can't leave him in that church indefinitely, Jean.
I know, but we've enough to do for the moment, so let's just leave him there for the time being until someone complains about it.
Right, I'll go and draft those letters.
Right, I'll see you later.
Ah, Jean. Just the man.
Woman, actually, Godfrey.
Oh, so you are. And if that isn't enough talent for one person, I believe that you are an immigration enthusiast as well.
Well, I'm just fumbling my way forward in the dark at this very moment, Godfrey.
Oh, I do like a good fumble. In the dark. Now, if you're still fighting the good fight, oh, Jean, I wonder if you'll come into my office for a minute. I won't detain you for a moment. It's just that I know that you get a lot of these immigration problems in your neck of the woodpile.
Well, in a multiracial constituency, you're rather bound to.
Yes, while in my rural constituency, a stranger from abroad is a rarer sight.
Or maybe it's the fiery cross and the pointed hats that deter callers.
Well, we're not quite Cheltenham, but we do keep a welcome in the hillside, Jean.
And a lynch mob in the car park.
Only for hunt saboteurs and vegetarians. But far from being prejudiced, you know, Jean, some of my best friends are in the Gurkhas.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, splendid little chaps. Intensely loyal. Amazing powers of decapitation.
Of course, loyalty to us is always the main criterion of worth.
Oh, now, come now, Jean. I'm the first to admit that Gunga Din is a better man than I am when he is, but a lot of the time...
He isn't.
But when he is...
You are the first to admit it.
Quite. After all, we have to take up the white man's burden.
Yes, and let the servants carry it.
Now, Jean, I wonder if you'd lend me some cross-party support for my campaign. It's a friend of a constituent. He's in rather disastrous straits. You see, he can't follow, for political reasons, his vocation in his own country.
A political refugee?
Oh, very much so.
From an oppressive regime?
Oh, some do say.
Yeah, I'm handling a similar case myself at the moment.
Oh, well, you see, if he could get British nationality, this would be an enormous help to him.
Yes, well, I don't know what I can do directly, but any support I can give.
Oh, good. Well, that is encouraging.
Oh, he's from a persecuted minority, is he?
Oh, very much so. A very oppressed people, Jean. In fact, the most isolated, misunderstood minority ethnic group in the world today.
What is he then, Armenian?
No, white South African.
Hi, Ken. Any calls?
Oh, yes. A certain Father Watts keeps blighting the phone lines. Can you call him back?
Oh, right.
Mrs. Price?
Yes?
Warren Venables Cheever.
Yes?
Your research assistant.
Oh, yes, of course. Oh, Warren, I am sorry I'm late.
No problem.
Ken, this is Warren.
Oh, we've been chatting away, getting on like a tomb on fire.
Can we make some room for him?
It's very good of you to let me be here, Mrs. Price. This will be invaluable insight for me into the working of the British Constitution for my doctorate.
Oh, believe me, Warren, I need all the research help I can get. Look, shall we go across to the house and I'll show you where the library and everything is?
Fine. Do we go now?
I think so.
Well, then, before we do, Jean, Mr. Miller, sir, it's my custom to commence the day with a prayer. And I'd like to invite you both to join me in that.
A prayer?
You know, Ken, they have them in church.
Oh, really?
Just a short grace before the day.
Aye, okay, you bang away then, Warren.
O Lord, confer unto us the bounty of thy presence, and bless thou our labors in thy vineyard this day.
Amen.
Aye, right enough.
Dignify our toil with the nobility of thy purpose. Pardon us our failures, and may our successes rebound to thy glory. Amen.
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 Right then, shall we go across, Warren?
Sure. See you again, Mr. Miller.
Oh, I look forward to that. Cheerio, Warren. Bye, Jean. Stroll on the Reformation.
I hope I'm not bothering you coming here, Mrs. Price, but I've had a devil of a job getting hold of you. I've left several messages.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. It's often like this.
And they ran the metal detector over me when I was coming in.
Well, they do it to everyone. It's nothing personal.
It's Mr. Cheng, Mrs. Price.
Yes, well, we've got an appeal underway. My husband's a lawyer, and he's handling it.
So he's under no immediate threat of deportation?
No, should be all right for a while.
Then would you mind coming round and reassuring him on that point?
I thought I had already reassured him.
Well, he doesn't think so. He thinks if he puts one foot outside consecrated ground, he'll be in a van to Heathrow. In fact, I'm coming to the conclusion that Mr. Cheng is a bit, well, unreliable.
What makes you say that?
He seems, for instance, a little over-anxious to help with passing round the collection plate. Can we not move him out of the church? I can't have the man living in the confessional. I could hear him snoring during Mass.
You couldn't have him in the presbytery for a while till the appeal's heard, could you? You see, I've got enough to do as it is without finding accommodation for him.
I would, Mrs. Price, and never mind the housekeeper. Just because I'm priest doesn't mean to say I'm incapable of acting in a Christian fashion. But he simply doesn't trust anyone in, well, uniform. The only one he seems to have any faith in is you.
Oh. Well, I'll come over and talk to him.
Would you, sister? I'd be very grateful.
Just Jean?
Ah, you're not in the church yourself, are you?
No.
No, because I do have some pamphlets here that might be of interest.
Doing some canvassing, Father?
You smoke a lot, Mr. Miller.
I'm an MP, Warren. It's an occupational hazard.
Your lungs, sir.
My lungs, Warren, like Glasgow, belong to me.
I'm sorry?
Ethnic reference.
Uh-huh. Is that your family, Mr. Miller?
Ah, it is.
May I?
No, help yourself.
Very fine-looking children, sir.
Thanks, Warren. You should try living with them.
They must be very proud of their father being a member of Parliament.
Nothing like a family, Warren, to make sure your feet still fit your boots.
And to help you walk tall, too, Mr. Miller. Yes, it must be very hard on a child whose father has died prematurely.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Somewhere we can put him. Haven't we got a safe house or something?
Safe house? This is the Labour Party, Jean, not the French Resistance. Why can't he stay where he is?
Norman, he's living in a confessional box. I can't leave him languishing there like some unabsolved sin now, can I?
Jean, he is from a different culture. What may seem a cramped confessional box to you and me could be a four-star hotel to him.
Perhaps I should just get it wallpapered then and have a phone installed.
What's the matter with your house?
My house? Well, it's my husband. I don't like to impose on him. I bring enough work home already.
Husband? You're married then, are you?
Oh, Norman, you have met my husband. You came round to our house for a meal.
Oh, so he's your husband, is he? I thought he was someone you invited to make the numbers up.
No, Norman, he was someone I married to make the numbers up.
Well, he seemed like a nice enough, long-suffering sort of chap to me. Should be only too glad to put up Mr. Wong for a couple of nights.
Cheng.
Oh, it's two of them now, is it?
You made these steamed dumplings yourself, Jeff?
Yes, help yourself to another.
One was fine, thank you. Where's Jean tonight?
You know, where she usually is. Would you like a brandy with that?
Brandy, yes, thank you. A bishop moves diagonally, yes?
That's right. Here, help yourself.
Your move, Jeff.
All right.
Checkmate. Beginner's luck, huh? Never mind. Another game?
Oh, thanks.
He's got to go, you know, Jean.
Who has?
Warren, I don't partake, Cheever.
He isn't doing any harm.
He's only driving me nuts, that's all. He's not just Bible Belt, Jean, he's Bible Belt and braces.
Ken, I know you're not religious, but can't you be a bit tolerant?
Why is it that atheists always have to tolerate religion, but nobody ever tolerates atheists? He keeps wanting to convert me.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Yeah, well, I don't want my soul saved. I'm an atheist, for God's sake.
Only for 3 months.
It wouldn't be so bad if he would stop praying. I mean, I'm getting a bit old for morning assembly.
So what do you want me to do? Have him deported?
Yes! Can't you find something wrong with his visa and tip off the immigration squad?
Look, Ken, he wrote to me asking for a job as a researcher. He's well qualified, he's intelligent, and he's cheap.
Yes, and he's in my office.
Our office.
Well, he may share our office, Jean, but he does not share our politics. He's a button-down Republican.
So maybe he couldn't get a job with a Tory. Maybe he wanted experience with a woman.
That might do him some good.
Look, he is not here forever.
No, it just feels like it. He brings a whole new dimension to eternity.
Oh, hi, Warren. Do you want some tea?
I don't partake, thank you, Jean, of tannin-based stimulants.
Yeah, I'll get you a mineral water.
God bless you, Mr. Miller.
You see what I mean?
He cheats at chess, Jean.
You cheat at chess.
That's different. It's my set. And he's been nicking my brandy.
Well, you drink too much of it anyway.
I'm saying he's not 100% honest.
If you have to be 100% honest to live here, we're all due for deportation.
Well, it doesn't bother me, but if he's been lying about other things, it might bother the immigration department. You do know, for instance, that he's the sole provider for his family. It's only the money that Cheng sends over from Britain that's keeping them going.
All the more reason for him staying here.
Yes, only in the eyes of the immigration department, it makes him an economic refugee.
He is not doing it for himself, Jeff.
It doesn't matter who he's doing it for. Well, this is about a man and his visa, not a boy and his dog. If they can establish that his motives for staying here are financial, he's out.
Where is he, anyway?
In the living room, watching the video. I'll go in a minute and count the spoons.
Well, what do you think, Jean? Do you feel it's the sort of case you can fully put your weight behind?
I don't think it's the sort of case I could even put my foot behind, Godfrey. I thought we were supposed to throw life belts to drowning people, not to those on luxury cruises.
Well, I don't see why the fact that he's a white South African should be held against him. I mean, he just wants a fair shake.
He just wants a British passport so he can compete in international athletics.
It's always been my personal contention, Jean, that one should keep politics out of sport.
Yes, well, they should have kept rabbits out of Australia, Godfrey, but they didn't, and it's too late.
But think what a feather it'll be in our cap if he starts winning gold medals for Great Britain.
But he wouldn't be. He'd be winning them for South Africa, and it would be a nail in our coffin.
Do you know, Jean, this man has been subjected to the most intense political persecution.
What? A rich white South African living in an affluent part of Cape Town? Who's been persecuting him?
Well, the ANC, of course, by not allowing him to compete in competitions.
It's not them. It is world opinion.
Oh, yes, well, but that's a minority view.
This minority view thinks my Mr. Cheng is worth more backing than this obvious charlatan.
Your Mr. Cheng seems very dubious to me, and I've had some critical letters about the case from constituents who have had food poisoning from Chinese restaurants.
Oh, yes, or who personally know someone who saw the dead cat in the fridge.
Oh, yes, you heard about that, Vigil. Well, if you won't give me your support, Jean, I shall just have to find a researcher and pursue the case myself.
Please do. Oh, did you say you needed a researcher, Godfrey?
Yes. Why, I do know one. I can't pay much.
Jeff, you take the car. I'll get a cab. There's a vote on later.
Yes, OK.
I am sorry.
Don't worry, Jean. Thanks for trying.
OK.
So, Mr. Cheng flies back tomorrow on the earliest available.
What reason?
The decision went against him. They rule that his motives for staying were primarily economic.
Oh, everybody's motives are primarily economic. You've got to eat to live, haven't you? That's economic. It's It's marvellous, isn't it? Remember when everyone was off to Australia for a better life? We admired their initiative. Someone comes here with the same idea, we kick them out of the country. They're economic refugees, undesirable aliens.
Foreigners, Ken, just plain foreigners.
Yeah, I know all about that, Jean. I'm Scottish myself.
Hello, Jean. Ken.
Hi.
How are y'all?
Oh, it's been another quiet week here at Lake Wobegon.
Sorry?
Ah, it's all right, Warren. I'm just a joshin' and a funnin'. Jean isn't.
He lost.
Ah, gee, I'm sorry. Well, give me your poor, your huddled masses, huh? Yearning to be free.
Maybe they would let him into America, Warren.
No way, Mr. Miller, no way. Well, I guess I've completed that project for you, Jean.
Oh, yes, thank you, Warren. It was very efficient.
This is somewhat embarrassing, but I've been approached by a conservative MP who needs a researcher, and as I finished my work here earlier than anticipated,
No, you go, Warren. That's all right. Don't you give it a second thought.
It's okay, Warren. You've done your work here and you need the experience.
Well, it would give me a broader base, I feel, yes. I wonder, before I go, if we might join together in a Thanksgiving prayer.
Ah, if you'll excuse me.
Ken.
I've got to go and see a man about a rabbit, Warren.
O Lord, give us thy direction at this crossroad of our lives, and guide our footsteps with thy everlasting light along the pathway to thy domain. Amen.
But how, Jeff? You were supposed to be keeping an eye on him.
I've no idea. We were in the sitting room. We'd set up the chess set. He said he was going to the loo. I heard it flush. I waited 5 minutes. I called out, he'd gone.
Oh, Jeff.
No good saying, oh, Jeff. What was I supposed to do? Go and hold it for him?
Oh, Jeff. Where could he have gone?
Well, I'll tell you where he hasn't gone. He hasn't gone to Terminal 4, Heathrow Airport. I'm going to have a drink. You want one?
Yes.
He took it with him.
Yes, I'm so pleased that you could start immediately, Warren.
Glad to, Mr. Egan, sir. Good to have experience of government as well as opposition.
Yes, I'll just settle for experience in government, I think. There's plenty to do, so if you'll just find a chair in the corner and not make too much noise.
Oh, no, sir. You won't know I'm here.
And you're sure you don't want any further remuneration?
I have my scholarship, sir. That's quite sufficient for my needs. Work is its own reward, Mr. Egan.
Yes, that's what I think myself. I always tell my employees that. Well, shall we get on now?
Oh, yes, sir. I wonder, before we do, if we might stand here a moment and join together in prayer.
Do what, did you say?